after the attack on Israel by Hamas, people took to the streets in support of Palestinians after Israel counterattacked. Some of them even expressed support for the terrorist organization in spite of the fact that they had just murdered hundreds of innocent people in an unprovoked attack. Months after the fact, they still do. Predictably, after Israel's retaliation, students in ultra-liberal colleges and universities protested, because that's what we do now. We express our infantile outrage like coddled preschoolers and expect every adult in the room to put everything on hold so they can satisfy our demands. We air our grievances to no one in particular, expecting our little temper tantrums to magically change the very fabric of reality. New York University students held a demonstration in Washington Square. Others at UC Berkeley walked out of class. But of course, most of them hid their faces because that's what real heroes do. I'm sure because they're so humble they don't want to take any individual credit for doing this. It's all for the greater good, no doubt. But you see, these are the kinds of people who don't really listen to words. You know, like LGBTQ plus groups who support Palestine, or worse, Hamas. They don't seem to understand that in Palestine, homosexuality is illegal. The government doesn't try to hide this. It's a well-known fact that gay Palestinians are routinely abused and tortured, sometimes killed. Some of them flee to Israel because Israel is actually more accepting of them than their own homeland. These facts are readily available in a variety of sources, including news reporting agencies and in books like Brian Whitaker's Unspeakable Love, Gay and Lesbian Life in the Middle East. And other people get it too, but many don't. Homosexuality is unequivocally condemned in numerous places in Islamic texts. Islamic scholars from the medieval period through the 21st century have labeled homosexuality as one of the very worst crimes a human being can commit. And because of this, groups like ISIS, Hamas, and others have routinely tortured and killed homosexuals, and they are open about the fact that they believe they have God's authority to do this. Well, Hamas also made it clear in their 1988 charter that one of their primary goals was to destroy Israel and kill every Jew in the area. That is what is meant by the phrase, "From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free." This is a call to genocide, and they don't deny this. And yet we see people supporting Hamas, or at least claiming that Israel is solely responsible for the initial attacks that butchered hundreds of unarmed and innocent civilians, including children and babies. 33 student groups at Harvard University signed a statement saying that Israel alone bears responsibility for the violence that broke out in early October, when corporate CEOs demanded to know the names of all the signatories so they wouldn't make the mistake of hiring these idiots in the future. Astonishingly, many of them began to backpedal and distance themselves from this statement. Who in the world could have possibly seen this coming? Well, apparently, some people don't know that when you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. And stupid prizes have real-world consequences, unlike the echo chambers provided by cowards at Social Justice Warrior University, which is basically every Ivy League school and many state-funded universities. Many people in the world, even those at Ivy League institutions, don't seem to understand that words really do matter. I think part of this can be explained by the fact that we live in a prosperous, tolerant, and liberally minded society, and one that is influenced by Christian morality at the very deepest, sometimes subconscious levels. Most of us take for granted Jesus' teachings like "do unto others as you would have them do unto you," or "turn the other cheek," or "blessed are the peacemakers," or the Apostle Paul, who said, "So far as it depends on you, live peaceably with all." We can't imagine what it would be like to take a human life with our own hands. We can't understand how someone could wish for another person's death just because they're from a different ethnic group, or because they subscribe to a different religious faith, or they've made different life choices. We simply have no ability to empathize in any way with people capable of unspeakable evil, like Hamas. And because we can't imagine doing that kind of thing ourselves, we can't imagine anyone else being capable of doing it either. It almost seems beyond us that people in this world could be so monstrous. There is a glimmer of hope in that kind of naivete. But we can't forget that words really matter. I'd like to invite you to take a look at a video with me. Here it is.
We're going to play a game called Hamas or. So we're going to see if this quote came from Hamas or a different group. We must attack every Jew on planet Earth. We must slaughter and kill them. Who said that? Hamas or ISIS?
ISIS?
The answer was Hamas. Now this one's Hamas or Hitler. Inflict as many losses as possible on the Jews, kill them one by one, and don't leave even one.
Hitler. Hamas?
Hamas. Homosexuality is punishable by death. Hamas or Taliban?
That sounds like Taliban.
That's incorrect. It is actually Hamas. Again, there are Jews everywhere. We must attack every Jew on planet Earth. We must slaughter and kill them. Hamas or ISIS?
ISIS.
That also was Hamas. Kill the Jews in the hell of the world to come. Hamas or ISIS?
ISIS.
The answer was Hamas.
Everything is Hamas.
They're probably just ignorant. I mean, there's still people that believe the Holocaust didn't happen.
I am worried because that stuff will trickle its way down into America, you know?
In every case, you notice that the people questioned were asked to choose one of the two available options and were surprised at the real answer. Maybe they just went with the familiar villain, you know, the one they knew was a bad guy. Now, we understand that the Taliban, ISIS, and Nazis are all subhuman savages. This is not in question. But groups like Hamas are exactly the same, and they've never tried to hide who they are. They're crystal clear about their goals and objectives. They are self-identified extremists who would scorch the earth if it meant taking their enemies with them. And they make no attempts at subterfuge. They have very little interest in guile. They tell you the truth about their intentions. And it's important to listen to what they say, because words really matter.